No way will I get invited. I'm already deep inside it. I can't shake it, I can't hide it. I am the outsider. No reason to get excited. We don't have to be so divided. I can't shake it, I can't.
Hey everybody, what's up? I am Joe Finley.
And I'm Angie. And we are
The Swansons.
Swansons.
Welcome to Swansonville.
Podcast. What episode is this? 11?
I don't know.
It's
11. This is our Grammy
special.
That's
right.
The 61st Grammy Awards. So this is our Grammy special. Welcome. And we also have a very special guest
That's
today
right.
with us, which we'll be introducing to you very soon, our mystery guest of the day. First with our Grammy talk. So we got to go to the 61st Annual Grammy Awards.
Yes.
Yes,
That's right.
we did. So we had this whole thing about preparing for the show, right? Which was like getting ready for a wedding. Yeah, there you go. Here's some credentials.
The official tickets.
So we had to go out and get me some fancy clothes, right?
Yeah.
Get you a fancy dress. Isn't that nice? Credentials. And so that was the beginning of our Grammy journey, was doing the whole prom thing, getting fitted for a tuxedo, a beautiful tux that we rented from Men's Warehouse.
That's right, yeah. Calvin Klein. And I
Calvin
think
Klein.
that the bow tie fit you well.
Yes, and you had a beautiful blue dress that was just stunning.
Thank you.
I don't know where you got that thing
A
from.
pinup store in the Ontario Mills Mall. So it's actually called Pinup.
Bam!
That's the name of
Yet
it.
another plug.
Pinup, and they have wonderful dresses, and the reason why I love it is because it was the only one. So as far as I was concerned, I wasn't worried about running into anybody else wearing that dress,
Very important.
because they don't carry a bunch of them and sell a bunch of them. A lot of dresses that come into the store are just onesie twosies, or they have one size of each, and then when that gets sold, it's done.
So you got ready, separate from me, just like a wedding, right? You were off getting your makeup done, and I was getting dressed here at the house, and we were waiting for Vic. There we go. Our videographer, camera guy, friend, Team Swansons player, to arrive to take some pictures before we left.
Yeah, because I thought it was important that we get some. We're going to spend the money on the outfits. We got to have something better than just a cell phone.
That's right.
Right?
So we got a whole session in. It was a little bit rushed towards the end because it was raining outside, right?
Yeah, it was all the kinds of weather that, I mean, we were having, you got to imagine, all the guests are dealing with the rain.
Everybody, yes.
So you can imagine how annoying. Those are not the conditions you want to be.
They're not the
dressing
conditions
up.
with all the hairdos and makeup and wardrobe and all that stuff. Lots of fancy umbrellas.
And then we brought the umbrella. Oh, well, we did use it once, I feel, but then no rain. Right?
Yeah. So Alfred came to pick us up. We talked about Alfred on our last episode, I believe, regarding his professionalism and his driving and whatnot. Do you recall?
Yeah.
You kind of give me this blank look. We're talking about Alfred and the accident at the last show.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
I was kind of referencing that in a fun way, talking about his professionalism and all that shit.
Probably
so-
because I still have some built-up anger about that evening. It's not funny to me yet, so maybe that's why I'm not like, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's kind of funny.
it's
But,
kind of funny.
it's
It
kinda
is
funny.
a little bit.
So Alfred helped Vic with the lighting and everything. He became your assistant with the photography. When that
Yeah,
was
he's
cool.
very helpful.
And we had the opportunity to see the photographs. Did we see all of them, Vic?
No.
So the ones that we've seen are very beautiful. Vic is great at what he does, and you're a beautiful
Thank you. But
model.
I just know I was saying one time, next time, you got to strap on that guitar.
Yeah.
You know?
However, we sat by
It
the
was
piano.
good. They
that
were
was cool.
so good.
Yeah,
The pictures that we have so far are actually
So we rushed off because it was getting just a little bit late, and you and I are
always late.
We are late to
Everything.
everything. We were late to church this weekend. That was not cool. But anyways, we were there. So we are heading to Los Angeles. We're having a great time, you and I, sort of in the moment, getting ready for this experience that we were about to have. And everything was great until we got to Los Angeles, and they had the roads closed like everywhere, right? They're rerouting traffic, and Alfred couldn't find us a place to drop us off initially.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you kept following the signs, but initially it just came to the end of the point where it's like, you know where the Staples Center is. Just get close and pull over, and we'll get out.
Anywhere. We were
care.
literally looking out the window like,
can
you see it from
like
here?
a designated area where cars were pulling off and letting off people, but it wasn't happening like that.
It wasn't. I don't even know how we actually arrived at the end of it all, but we did. And we were happy to exit and get in there on time, which was cool. So we arrived at the Staples Center in our fancy clothes.
Yeah, you go through the Microsoft Theater first. That's right. How we got through, right?
Yeah, went to the
And
Microsoft
then,
Theater.
because there's things going all day. Starts at noon. There's like pre-Grammy stuff at the Microsoft Theater, which is right next to Staples Center, which is right next to LA Live, all right there. And so it starts early. We didn't make it for that.
It starts with like a Grammy week. It was Grammy weekend,
Oh
most
yeah,
importantly.
I'm sorry.
But the
it
whole
starts
week leading
days
up.
prior, and there's stuff every single day, every single night.
Did we
There
talk
was
about picking up
there
our
was a
tickets?
brunch.
Because we
Yeah,
went down, we did. Because so we had seen that Dolly Parton they were having an event honoring her midweek during Grammy.
And the whole thing was basically about her.
Yeah.
Even though Diana Ross tried to make it about her. But hey, you know what? Love you both.
Yeah, they were spectacular.
But Dolly was the person of the year. So
Yeah.
she was being honored for that. So
Yes.
we love Dolly.
We love Dolly. So we got there to the Staples Center and we got in.
Yeah,
And we
so
hadn't
we
eaten,
were using
right? So the plan was that we were going to go through LA Live,
Just
that area
eat,
there,
just
and have
eat.
some food prior to getting in the Staples Center. That
Right.
was initially.
But we ran out of time.
We ran out of time for that. So then we had plan B was, well, we're just going to grub at the Staples Center, whatever they have will suffice until we get to the after party. So that was the plan. And so we had gotten in there and we were trying to find our seats, right? And in doing so, we passed up a few food lines. Some wonderful opportunities to eat that we just
I know,
walked
and
right
I
by.
was like, let's get something to eat. Let's go up to our seats and get something to eat. No, let's walk around some more. Next thing you know,
Well, I had seen.
finally,
Well,
he said,
I saw Tom Green, right? So that's what happened. Like I saw Tom Green, and I had been watching Celebrity Big Brother, right?
yeah.
It just so happens I hardly ever watch TV, and I'm watching this show, a few episodes of it, and I see Tom Green out. And it was just like so my mind was distracted by Tom Green. You know, I was thinking, let's get a photograph with Tom Green. By the time I had gotten my phone out, right, he's 100 yards past us. We decided, well, you know, we're not going to chase him down. Like, can we get a picture? And then he turned around and walked back. So we stopped and had a little conversation. Took a picture with Tom Green.
Yep, that's right. And then that's when, after that, we decided to go up, and that's when they started closing all the food.
They started, it was like rapid fire, you know what I mean? It was so unexpected. It was shocking.
Okay, so now we know there were some things that we learned. So they.
Well, hold on a second now. You're jumping ahead. Wait a minute now, because there was still hope, right? As the cages were slowly closing, there was a line here and there, and I tried to get in one.
Whenever we
closed.
could. Yeah. And everything was like close. And you just kept trying, which was great because we did find a line.
I overheard somebody say, if you need a water, you can ask that
Over
guy
there,
over there.
right.
So that like opened up the lane for a water because we literally had nothing to eat, nothing to drink. We're starving, we're thirsty, and we're heading towards our seats, right? So we find one line, a drink line, while I'm getting the bottle of water. So we get one bottle of water, and we're in line, and they call a 2-minute call for the drink line. That's literally the last line open in the Staples Center. It's a 2-minute warning, and we're like about 8 people back.
Yeah.
We make it down there, and it's like 1 minute. There's 4 people ahead of us.
Yeah.
He's like 30 seconds.
Yeah, we got it though.
We got it. I was just trying to make
And
it real
then-
dramatic like that. You know, leading up to the we got it. You know what I'm saying? I was building the story.
Yeah, well, no food here at this stand. This was just a drink.
No food. So we're being told, while Angie's getting a drink, I've got my bottle of water, that there will be no food or beverage allowed inside the Staples Center.
Yeah, but they will be reopening the food at 5:20, which means, because right now it's 4:30, so they shut it down 30 minutes before showtime, which is at 5 o'clock, and then they have to wait 20 minutes after that. So for 40 minutes, everything is shut down as they want you to sit in your seats. and they don't want you to go out and then get your drinks and bring them to
And be
your
a disruption,
seats.
right? They don't want any kinds of disruptions with the program there. But I don't recall them ever reopening anything. When the food was done, it was just done.
No, it opened up from 5:20. It's just
Why didn't we ever get anything?
You didn't want to.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. I kept saying, let's go get food. And you were like, no, I'm watching the show. We walked out by 6:10 and they just closed them by 6 p.m. We need to call, make a phone call, tell Uncle Easy.
You know what? Listen, we're going to add a little something to our program here in Swansonville and give a call back to the East Coast to someone that we love the most, my Uncle Wayne. He's a great American
Hero.
war hero, is what he is. He served in Vietnam, and well, we love him dearly. Let's give him a call and ask him about the Grammys and see what he thought about that.
You gotta bring the speaker.
Uncle Wayne! Here, want to
I
get the
need
speaker?
the speaker.
Hold on, we need to get the speaker here. We're a little unorganized in Swansonville today. How are you?
Hey, I can hardly hear you because of the echo.
Hello, how are you? Can you hear us now?
Yeah. Who's this, Angie?
You got it.
That's right, that's Angie.
Hey, girl, how you doing?
What's up, Uncle Wayne? How are you?
I'm doing all right.
We wanted to ask you, we're in the middle of this is our Grammy special here in Swansonville. I know that you're a big fan of music.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. Now, but you're not a big fan of the Grammys, I'm told? Or you haven't seen them? You haven't seen one of them?
No, I was never interested in any of that Hollywood stuff out there.
Yeah,
I
so...
watch the Oscars or, you know what I mean? I'm a simple guy.
Yeah, well, I hear you. I can appreciate that. Who do you love to listen to when you listen to music? Besides the Swansons.
I have an extensive collection of Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix. Wow.
Jimi Hendrix. Let me tell you, growing up, when I was a teenager and all, I listened to a lot of the older rock and roll from the 50s and early 60s because I was a dancer. I was a jitterbug. And there was places like all the schools opened up at night and had dances on Saturday nights and all. It ain't like it is now. But I started out with that, and I never listened to Jimi Hendrix till I guess it was in maybe the late 70s when I discovered Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
But then through him, I started listening to a lot of blues.
You want to listen to a little blues right
I was
now?
gonna say, American Woman.
Guess who?
That's Jimmy.
Guess who?
That's right.
American Woman.
That's right.
Yeah.
So go on. I'm sorry for the interruption. So you got into blues?
Yeah. I got into the blues, and then I guess in the 60s, in the late 60s, maybe around as early as like 69, I got into the Allman Brothers, and I always loved the Allman Brothers. I went to like maybe 10 concerts over the years to see them and all.
They're a great band.
And it was that Southern influence on the blues. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kind of like the country influence on your music.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the Southern rock. And whoa, who's that?
What's happening, man? You're in Swansonville. Are you distracted?
Oh, I'm in Swansonville. Far out.
Okay, so Jimi Hendrix is your man.
Yeah, he's my man, and the Allman Brothers, and but I listen to the two of them the most.
Well, very, very
But
cool.
I'm very diversified listening to music. Like, you know, I used to have this girlfriend when I was in high school, and I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday night, her and her sister and her mom and dad, and when I was there, they would sit down and they would put on classical music, like Ravel's Bolero and the 1812 Overture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I really love all kinds of music. All kinds of music.
Well, that's awesome.
My favorite band is the Swansons.
Yes, that's what I was trying to get at. Now, we thought that would be the first thing you would say, but
Thank you, Uncle Wayne.
we appreciate the
I
plug.
didn't want to forget to put that in. Oh, and I want to send a special shout out to all my Finley relatives on the West Coast. The little ones, the big ones, the young ones, the old ones, all of them.
All right.
Love you all.
Shout
Thank you
out
so
from
much.
Uncle Wayne. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my Uncle Wayne
Yeah.
from Philadelphia,
All
Pennsylvania.
right, we'll talk to you next episode, Uncle Wayne.
Love you, Uncle Wayne.
Can't hear you.
I
See you
said,
next time.
See you next time.
I don't know what you're saying.
I said, we'll see you next time here in Swansonville.
Oh yeah. See, I'm getting a big echo from you.
Well, we'll figure that
And
out.
it's real loud.
Yeah, you just echoed.
Yeah. Did I?
Yeah. All right, Uncle Wayne.
That's the end of the podcast.
That's the end of your segment, Uncle Wayne. We don't have a whole show for you.
Does that make me eligible for a Grammy?
Yes, it does.
What's the number of the episode?
Number
11.
11.
7?
11.
11.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. I'll watch for it on my iPad.
All right, Uncle Wayne. We love you. Talk to you next week.
You guys.
All
Love
right.
you. Bye-bye.
You're going to make me famous.
Yes, sir.
All right, bye-bye.
Talk to you next week.
Oh, sorry, I cut it off. We lost him.
That was my Uncle Wayne right there. Known to some as Uncle Wheezy.
Problems and gang problems and anything like that. And so we didn't drink, so we didn't have alcohol. And my boys, I honestly and truly, I just thought of this today, had neighbors come to me constantly saying, how do you do it? How do you have such wonderful children that never get in trouble?
So we're finding our seats. You're in line. You get the 30-second call. You are literally the last person to be served a drink. Where you're being served a drink is just yards away from our seat, which we haven't been to yet. So there we go to our seat.
Right.
And there we are in the building at the 61st Grammy Awards. Joe and Angie Finley, the Swansons, representing, right?
Yeah.
And so that feeling is just like enormously overwhelming, you know.
It was
and-
cool. I was glad that mostly everyone else was in black attire because I
yeah.
don't know about you, but in my head I was thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to be the only ones dressed up. Like, even though I kept checking the ticket and it said black attire, black suit, you have to wear.
Formal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
everybody was
everyone
formal.
was so dressed up. So it was
Yes.
a beautiful thing. Got to our seats, sit down, and then the show began.
Our seats were way up there.
Within
you know what I mean?
1 minute.
Let's talk about our seats though for a minute. Our seats were way up there. You know, so like, if you like, you guys went to the Grammys, we're gonna see you on TV, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like that's people's perception of what's happening. So to better explain our situation, one of the reasons why Angie's got anxiety over whether or not people are going to be dressed up is because of where we are seated. You know, so but
And what they called the nosebleeds.
yes, it was very, very high up there. But the
We were happy to be there.
the view that we had, right?
It was cool.
We could see literally everything.
Yeah.
Right? It's a whole different thing. I've never been up there before. So it was really amazing to watch the lighting, to watch kind of the backstage things, the clock
Yeah, because we
that
could
was
see
working.
things that you can.
The inner workings
normally
of the
see.
award show,
Right, yeah.
you know.
It's cool.
So it was just fascinating to watch and to be with all these people in the same room, right? It didn't really matter where you were seated, but so anyways, when people think about you going to the Grammys and did I see on TV, they have a section down below where you see all of the nominated artists. So those are the nominated artists, and then this world is filled with artists and management teams and PR people and very highly creative musicians and just tons of people. So that place is filled with like-minded people that are all there for the same experience, and it's just a wonderful feeling of oneness with everybody there, no matter where you're seated, you know. And that was the experience that I had. That was just so cool. But we're still starving, right? So as we're starving, we're able to. Well, you spotted a couple of seats that were down, like 4 rows down, and in the aisle, which is right at the end, right? And
There's four
of
that
them.
were open for the whole time. So when we got up and then discovered there's no food, so then we had to go sit back down instead of going right back up to where our actual seats were. Because I'm always eyeing for it's not that I'm trying to. If I see that the person didn't make it for whatever reason, then I'm gonna use those seats.
Well, so we did. We took those seats, and initially I was a little bit
I know
anxious.
you're like, are you sure?
You
Because
know
that's
what
the
I
worst
mean?
feeling if someone comes up and says,
I didn't want to get
"Excuse
tapped
me,
on the shoulder. Yes,
you're
that
in
would have
our
been
seats?"
terrible.
I hate that.
So I didn't turn around. I refused to turn around. I wouldn't even go back and get our stuff till we're ready to leave. I didn't even want to handle it.
But it looked
Let's
like
just look
other
straight ahead.
people left that were around where we were sitting too. They weren't.
But it
there.
was great. The seats were great. The show was awesome. We saw there were great performances that we witnessed. Winners.
And big winner, Casey
winners.
Musgraves. Congratulations.
Little country
for
music winner
Album of
at
the
the
year
Grammys.
she got. And what's cool too is it makes me want to go and like listen to that whole album because it kind of feels like she did sing. She performed as well. She performed a song called Rainbow, I believe. Anyways, from her album isn't like traditional country, like us.
Yeah.
Like she's her own thing, and that's good for her. And congratulations.
Congratulations, Casey Musgraves, and
Yeah,
all
then-
the other winners.
And I was just gonna say, and then another big winner was Childish Gambino with "This Is America." They won Best Music Video, Best Song, and Record of the Year.
Drake won too, right?
Drake won,
And Sky loves listening
and
to
he
our
won
son.
for
Sky.
God's Plan. That was
He loves listening to God's plan. He listens to it all day
Yeah,
long.
yes.
This is God's plan.
he got for rap song. Yeah, that song, God's Plan. Yeah, he loves that.
And
song.
Cardi B.
And Cardi B, congratulations. Okay.
So we're
So we
leaving.
got out
So we're
and
skirting out of there.
We kind of knew though we were going to be going to like just get some food at downtown LA Live.
That was the plan.
That was the plan.
But somebody had told us, right? See, we were misled a couple of times.
Yeah.
Somebody had told us. We inquired about the after party, when it began, and what was happening. They said, now is a perfect time, and they are serving food. And so we asked, which way do we go, right? Angie, you with me still? What happened? Completely lost her. in the
Yeah, I remember what happened. They told us, yes, go right this way to the after party.
So you ask this lady about the after party, and she's behind, what do you call it? Like a rope.
Yeah,
kind of
and
thing.
she was checking tickets even.
Right.
She
So
was
she
like,
says, yes, you are here at the perfect time, and they have food. Come on in. She opens the thing up, and we go through that, and then they say, go through the door, make a left, and you're going to be right there at the entryway. So we follow the directions very specifically, very exactly, and we wind up at this curb where there's a group of police officers, right? We can see a red carpet across the street, but we're a little bit lost. So who do we ask, right? Somebody that we can trust for information. The police. We ask them, is this the right way? And they say, no, it is not. It is not the right way. Are we still together,
yeah,
Ange?
because everyone was kind of, the people that were also walking like kind of that way with us, I could hear what they were saying. They were walking to the Marriott. They were going to their hotel room or whatnot. So everyone was kind of like going that way. But we didn't want to go that way because what was that way? We're not going to the hotel. We're trying to go to the after party, which is right here, LA Convention Center. We can
They
see
told
the
us that
building.
we were going the wrong way, and so we listened to their advice and we headed back to the Staples Center. So we had to go back through the door that we came out of, but now they were not letting us back in the door.
Because once you leave, you're
Once
not
you
allowed back
leave,
in.
you're not allowed
So,
back in. So
anyways, we got with the gentleman, and he was like, Who told you?
who told you
Who
that?
told you that? So we walked down, and then he asked the cops. He said, privately, like, did you tell them that the after party wasn't right through those doors right over there? No, we didn't.
They turned their backs like they've never seen us before. Right? So thank you, LAPD.
Anyways, when we got to the door,
help.
then we also learned that they weren't ready yet. So
So we found out that was the correct way to
but
enter
the reason
the after party.
why maybe it didn't look like it is because the doors weren't open. There wasn't anybody
There wasn't any
there.
activity whatsoever.
Right, there
over
wasn't anybody there, so
It didn't
just
appear to
wasn't
be the
open
entryway
yet.
at all.
Right.
So we find out that the party doesn't begin for what?
Half hour.
A half an hour. We're starving, just starving. So we're going to make our way across LA Live, that area right there, to
Because we
find.
know that there's like restaurants, and
Right,
we
there's-
know that there's a burger joint,
Yes.
Smash Burger. So
But we
that's what
couldn't-
I
we-
was heading to.
We were headed, but we couldn't move too fast on account of your shoes, right? Because you had like this shoe thing going on for a while. Whenever we start walking fast,
Because
slow down, slow down.
I gotta make a comment about, and all the girls and women listening know this to be a fact. When you're at the shoe store and you're trying on the heels, your mind plays tricks. Because when you're trying on the heels, you're like, these are comfortable. These are not painful at all. That's what your mind's telling you. But it's a lie. It's all lies. And it happens to me every single time. I know better. I know that I need to like buy heels that don't have a very high arch because my feet don't function like that. And I can only...
But you did anyways, regardless.
I did anyways because I'm telling you, when I tried them on, they felt solid. I was like, these are good. I
They
can
looked
get
great.
through.
You were walking great in them. There was a turning point. I don't know when it happened.
Just after over time.
Yeah.
That's what happens. So
So you took 'em off.
We
You
shoulda
took the
brought-
shoes
I
off.
should have brought the slippers. Every girl knows. You pack the slippers in the purse for the
I
after
did
party.
not know that.
And next time I'll be prepared. Not only that, I will probably bring my cowboy boots, and I will probably change them out, or just wear the boots the whole time because I felt like you could have wore your blue Nikes. Did you
Another
not?
lesson learned. No, I'm
Do you
good.
feel-
I was fine.
You like
I
this
had no
fancy
problems.
shoes?
No problem.
I love the fancy shoes.
But you did. So
You
we had to
look
walk.
great.
Thank you. We had to walk through the freezing
I know.
cold.
Los Angeles hardly ever
my
does not get
goodness.
this cold. For some reason, it felt like Chicago, and it got very windy, and it was windy and cold, and we were
Windy and a little bit of misty rain going on there. Just a little bit. Just enough to make it a little bit colder.
it was frigid.
It was miserable. And you were barefoot. at
That wasn't
point.
until after.
I thought you were walking
doing
through
the
Smash Burger.
No, I never
You
took
walked
off my
with heels
shoes.
on through there?
I never took them off until the very end because once you take them off, there's no putting them back on, ever. So so they're currently for sale. Just kidding.
Well, so we got to Smash Burgers, which I had never eaten at a Smash Burger before, and we're trying to be healthy. I know, but regardless, we're at the Smash Burger, and so that's where we end up for our healthy meal: double cheeseburger, and an order of fries and a root beer.
I think I finished mine before you.
Did you? I wasn't paying any attention to you. All I could see was that double cheeseburger. It was so delicious.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was. So we got fed. That was our first shot at food for the
And
day.
then we had to hoof it all the way back to the after party now.
We did. So we went back to the original spot where we were when they told us it would be half an hour. It was about a half an hour later.
And there was a little bit of a line.
There was a little bit of a line, several people in front of us with a street crossing. I'm scratching my nose again, sorry, Vic. A street between us and the red carpet, which was the entryway wherever people saw the interviews going on the red carpet. That was the entryway to the after party. So the red carpet was all done. Carpet was still there, however, and we walked through. In fact, I took a couple pictures of you on the red carpet there, as if we were actually there on the red carpet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were taking down all the other stuff. Anyways, we get to the after party. We file in. We're like the first 10, 20 people walking in to this beautiful ballroom, right? With just beautiful chandeliers everywhere and food and bars. And I don't even know how to begin describing what we walked into here. What would you say, this party?
Well,
we
it's
entered?
at the LA Convention Center, which is very large, and there has to be because you have to think that probably every single person that bought a Grammy ticket is gonna buy the after party ticket.
Yes.
So it's like 80,000 people. So
Huge.
it has to be big enough to. But anyways, we got in nice and early, got a seat because it's just open seating, first come first serve, and then which was great. And we were sitting by some folks that we got to meet for the first time. We got to mingle with, and it was their third year going to the Grammys, so they were able to tell us what last year was like or the year before, and just to get that history of the background was just even better. And then but we were in the first room Which
But
we
we're at
didn't
the
know.
table. We're at this. So we choose a table.
2 seats, right?
Excuse me. Let me get a drink here of tea. You know, I've been looking up this thing about tea to see if I'm having problems with drinking too much of it. I don't think it's a problem. I think it's good for you.
Depends on what you're reading.
So, to get a seat at one of these tables is like a really big deal, you know. And I noticed that as time progressed. But so we got a seat, center stage, right, like the center of the room, center stage, at the end of the table. Everything that I love to be at, right, with these people, these beautiful strangers, right, that welcomed us to their table. The only 2 seats that were available at the end, right, because everybody that was sitting down was saving seats, as us human beings normally do. You get there early, you save the seat, right? People were turning over 4, 5, 6 seats at a time, just flipping them to the table, you know what I mean, and saving them for their guests. So we were very fortunate to have gotten those seats in this place with these strangers that ended up becoming acquaintances of ours. You found out a lot of information from these people.
Yeah, yeah.
But then
And
there's food.
And they're not even in the music industry. They're just members of the academy because they work. She told me the story is how they became members of the academy was through her job working at a theater in Scottsdale. So apparently the theater is like affiliated with the academy. And so if you're an employee, then you auto in or whatnot, however it works. And then that's how she's been going for this year was her 3rd year.
Well, that's pretty cool. So the business is probably, or the ownership are
Has
members,
something
and then
to
they
do
give
with
tickets
the
to the.
academy.
Oh, that's
No,
cool.
not just give tickets. I guess if you're an employee, you become a member.
Oh, because we
'Cause she
became
said
Grammy
some of
members,
the-
and it was a pretty.
She said some of
difficult
the other
proposition.
people don't work at the theater anymore, but they can come.
Seems like your voice just changed right there.
Do we
So
need a jam?
there's this big stage in the middle of the room. The lighting is beautiful. There's gigantic
It's
chandeliers.
like a wedding reception. The best wedding reception you could ever.
You could
be
ever
at.
imagine, and there's food
Open bar,
everywhere.
food tables,
Dessert tables.
dessert tables.
You know, so while you were busy small talking, which you do very well, you were going after it. So you're talking, and I am just gazing at all these things, walking around these tables like a real weirdo. It was very strange, actually.
I know,
I was
but
kind of
you
like
were-
lurking
you
about. I
were
wasn't sure if
waiting.
you were allowed to touch it.
Yeah, he was waiting for somebody
was all
else
so
to
beautiful.
grab a cupcake.
I saw a
and then-
lady reach out very nicely and
And
grab
once he did, he
something with a
said,
napkin.
"It's
I
game
said,
time."
"It's on right now," and I got us like 4 or 5 different things. I got so excited, like a little kid.
Yeah, it was good. We were full, but we made sure we ate and drank as much as we could.
We did, so that was cool, and a really I can't believe I don't know the name of this band, but a jazz band was the entertainment for the evening at this particular party, the one that we entered first.
They announced the gentleman who was singing in it because he's a Grammy winner. Not this 61st Grammy,
Yeah.
but in the past.
Well, they were amazing.
how they
They were
announced
so talented. I was just glued to my seat watching these guys perform, whoever they were, the 61st Grammy Awards, the party one, we'll call it. And
Yeah,
you
room
kept,
one
you
that
kept,
was Grammy celebration.
what was it called?
No, I'm saying is the after party is what we didn't know is that we were in this one area, but that there was like these more. There was even a bigger room. Come to find out. I mean, we were kind of hearing it. The people were like, "Oh yeah, you guys should go walk around."
Well, that
There's
was the
something,
plan,
but
but
it
I
was
was
like-
stuck with the jazz
But
band.
if you get your seats though, you might as well just give. She's like, "Oh, you could save your seats," but I felt like once
No,
we get up,
once
we're
we
not
leave,
coming
we're gonna
back
go.
to this room.
Yeah.
Right.
So we both agreed upon that, and then so we did wait a little while, and I listened a little bit longer. Watched everybody they brought out a trumpet player who was just really crazy
Yeah,
cool.
probably another Grammy winner.
Yeah, these
they
guys were just on their A game. I mean, it was spectacular. And then I was satisfied with that experience.
Me too.
That being our Grammy experience and that being the after party. And I thought, man, this is going to be a story to tell forever, right? I mean, all the things that went on and the lights and just I keep saying the lights, but it was just the lights were just brilliant everywhere we went, right? So we say goodbye to these wonderful people, Heidi and Jameson, I think their names were. What was his name?
Tyler. I think.
Tyler. Why did I say Jameson?
I don't know. Maybe it's
Heidi
Jameson.
was right?
Heidi's right.
And Jameson was nowhere in the park. Not even close.
I'm not
Tyler?
sure. It might be
I thought it was Jameson. Heidi and Jameson.
not sure.
Or
I don't know,
Tyler.
but they had a whole group of friends with them. But
I
those
was
two
never introduced to them.
particularly,
I just waved to them.
I didn't know
smiled.
their name. Yeah.
I was happy being in my seat right there. Anyway, so we got up and said goodbye and walked out the door, down the hallway a little bit into, it was like the Wizard of Oz, man. It was like everything turning into color. It was like this amazing thing, this big, gigantic room with people dancing on pillars, right, dressed in the whole
1700s.
What's that, Hamilton.
1700s.
Everybody doing the Hamilton thing with all the, and so all this exquisite dancing and dining and bars, and a stage that was just, I mean, it was just gigantic concert stage, right, with these monitors that were they were bigger than life size, hanging everywhere, and the performers on stage were TLC.
TLC, yeah. So TLC was performing, which is
TLC.
just T-Boz, Chili, and then a fill-in for Left Eye, because rest in peace.
And
She's
one
in
of
that.
your favorite bands
Is
as
TLC,
a teenager, right?
Love them.
So that was
And
like,
I guess In Vogue also performed either before or after, I wasn't sure, but because we didn't stay that long. My poor little feet.
yeah.
But we just checked it out, and then, but we know now, next time, we're going right to the big room.
Right to the big
get
party.
Chairs in the
Get
big
in line early and go to the big
in the
party.
front, yeah.
High five. So
That was pretty awesome.
But that,
And
yeah,
then-
that party was unbelievable, man. So we got a
Then
little
you get
bit of
this.
to eat. And what's that? Oh yeah, we got our Grammy
Everybody gets
prize.
a goodie bag.
Goodie bag.
Right.
Little
Which
goodie
is
bag.
a little satchel. Everyone
Little
gets a little
satchel.
satchel. Mine was red, his was black, but it had something in it too. What was that? Did you ever figure that out?
You know, man, it was the weirdest thing in the world. Just, it was so strange. So it was this dot, right? It was this cardboard dot that
Yeah.
was stuck to a little box, had a little adhesive on it, right? You're supposed to read this real fine print, which I couldn't even read, right? So I handed it to a friend of mine who was wearing glasses to read it to me. And he said, well, what this is like this spiritual thing, right? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So you take this dot and you stick it like on your wrist. You know how they have these bracelets, like the copper bracelets and stuff? So this is the same type theory. And I to be honest with you, right? So I put the dot underneath my bracelets for the rest of the
You
day.
did?
Yeah, it fell out at the end of the day. So it didn't change my. I don't know what it did. I wasn't paying attention to it. I actually had quite a good day. It may have been partially responsible for my joy in that day.
And you didn't even know it.
That's right. Thank you, round cardboard speck. Thank you. Great Grammy show, I must say. So yeah, man, that was a really, really great experience that I will never, ever forget. And we're so blessed to have had that experience. And I pray that we get to do it again next year and possibly be nominated for a Grammy. How about that?
That's right, yeah.
The
And
Swansons.
congratulations to all the nominees and winners this
That's
past
right.
61st.
So
Grammy Awards.
so to wrap that up before we introduce our very special, wonderful guest. So we left the Grammys and very exhausted, your feet very tired, and it was again raining just a little bit, breezy, freezing cold, and we walked out the door, and once we're out, right, and called Alfred, and he was blocked. The streets were blocked, so we had no ride, right? We just started walking aimlessly throughout the streets trying to find a break in the barricades so that we could finally tell Alfred, well, now we're at the cross section of this street and that street and finally get a ride, right? So you were calling and we were walking, and you with me?
Yeah, so it's just basically if he would have answered the phone and I could have been, because we knew that the road we were trying to get picked off was blocked, he wasn't answering the phone, so I didn't know where he was. By the time we walked a long distance to a road that did have traffic, that's where he was. He had went around and got through the barricade from the police. It was on the road that no cars were on, and we had to walk all the way back.
So he made his way through the barricade. If we would have just stood in one spot, he would have been
It
able to
would
pick
have
us up
taken
right there.
forever, though. I think that, like, oh, if we would have stayed there,
No,
we would
we
have
had
never
to walk.
stood there.
Yeah, we had to walk.
We would have never waited.
So that was a unique experience. Going in and getting out was
Right, because they give you these special tags for pickup, for guest pickup. But then they had Figueroa Street closed. But then they had all these limos parked at the end where they were waiting. But one of them wasn't ours.
yeah.
But so he was on the other side. Anyways, luckily they were able to let him through. Regardless, I was just like, just get me in my car.
We got in the car and it was like, oh, thank you, Lord. What a great experience this was. What was the highlight for you? What were you thinking about when you were in the car when it was all said and done? Was there anything that popped out at you? Anything in particular? Or was it all just one big grand
Just the
experience?
after party I liked the best.
The after party.
I think
Mine
so.
was walking in to the second party.
The
The
only-
first one was initially,
second party,
but
yeah.
walking in the second party, all of my emotions were overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Mine
was
too.
just so much bigger than life. And the money that they put into these parties, man alive. I got to tell you, if you can make it to a Grammy party, go. What an experience.
Yep.
So, the Swansons made it to the Grammys, our first Grammy trip, the 61st annual Grammy Awards. Yay. That was great. And coming up next here in Swansonville, we have a very, very special, wonderful guest. Are we supposed to introduce her now? Or
Yep,
should we?
let's do it.
Okay.
She is.
Well, wait. Let me. Okay, we
I
can.
was just gonna say, Joe's mom, teacher.
Yes, today is a special day for me because we get to interview my mom,
That's right, Maryann Celebes.
and she is, well, she's the smartest person I know. We're about to talk to her about a lot of different things, and we can't wait to welcome her to Swansonville. Welcome, Maryann Celebes to Swansonville. Hey y'all, welcome back to Swansonville. We are here with our very special guest, my mommy, Maryann Celebes. Welcome,
Here I am.
Maryann.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be with the Swansons.
Maryann's here in
Hey,
Swansonville. She
thank
is a
you.
great lover of music.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, it's my privilege.
She's one of the main reasons I am in music, all the music that I grew up listening to. Let's find out a little bit about Maryann today. Let's start with, well, we know where you're from. Where I'm from. Where are you from? Let's talk about you.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yay!
Philadelphia.
Yeah, it used to be a really, really nice place.
Yeah, we still love Philly.
Yeah.
We're big fans of Philly, yo.
So you were born there?
I was born there, and our first home was in the greater Northeast, which actually, where Aunt Dolores lived, that was a suburb when we were born. And there was 1400 block, which of course you know of. There was no 13, 12, 11, 10. They were all woods, period.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was just a little tiny community.
So you grew up on 1422
Unruh
Street, right? You've got
Some
Four
siblings?
siblings.
Yeah, I was gonna say, tell
Right.
us about where do you fall in line there? Do you have some brothers and sisters?
Well, yeah, I do. Joe was the oldest, and Joe was like 4 years older, so he was kind of detached from our group. Because like John and I were a year, and Dolores and Jim were a year.
4 years is a big difference,
Yeah.
especially when the high school teenage
Oh, it
years.
is.
So if you're in 8th grade as opposed to somebody who's graduating, that is
Exactly.
a significant
Yeah,
difference.
I
in
didn't
age.
know that Joe was the oldest.
I didn't know
and
that
it was a
either.
big gap right there.
It was a big gap, and his friends were always over at the house. So the last thing they wanted was me hanging out there. Well, the last thing Joe wanted. His friends didn't mind me being there at all, but Joe would like me to leave the room.
Sure. Well, that makes sense.
He thought I was too young for the crowd, but
And then are you number two? Then John.
no, then John
Oh,
and then
okay.
myself.
And then who's younger than just younger than you? Is
And
it go
then
Jim
Jimmy and
and then
Dolores was the
Dolores?
baby.
Yeah. Wonderful. So 5 children.
5 children.
5
In
children, and then
Philadelphia, growing up.
so Uncle Joe. I'm sorry, Uncle Joe. Was he a junior?
Yes, he was.
He was a junior. So he was named after your father. So your mother and father were
What's their names?
Esther and Joseph Devine.
Esther and Joseph Devine.
Esther McIntyre married Joseph Devine.
Wow.
Two people
McIntyre.
that I loved very, very deeply and dearly. Still do. God bless them both in heaven. And Joseph Devine was my grandfather. Who
He
I call
was,
Pop
and he
Pop.
was a wonderful man. He was very prominent in Philadelphia. Literally, you couldn't meet anybody and say his name that they didn't know him or know of him. So, yeah, he was actually back then, well, it's not much different now. The parties were run by certain, like we have a Democrat committee, the Republican committee, and
I was going to say, you said the parties, but you didn't define.
I'm
We're
sorry,
talking
the
about politics.
political
Not
parties.
talking about like
Yeah,
a big
we
boozing
didn't have
party.
any parties. And he was the head of the Democratic Party. So he literally, if you were going to be a senator or a congressman, he actually was an assemblyman way back when I didn't know him. He was young. But his father, he worked in the mayor's office. And my father, Joseph Devine, was very important in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, because he was at that time the head of all the housing projects, which Philadelphia is a huge city. And so you can imagine how many housing projects there are. And so he would, he'd be the go-to guy whenever you needed a favor politically, Republican or Democrat. Back then there wasn't a war between them. I mean, they just all kind of really got along. They were friends and they helped each other. So he was funny. I think the funniest person I've ever met in my life.
I remember his sense of humor. And actually, that's something that runs rampant in your family.
Yes.
Your brother Joe, my Uncle Joe, very funny man. My Uncle John, very funny man. You have a great sense of humor. Your brother Jimmy, so funny. His laugh was so contagious. And then, I hate to say this, but the funniest of all, your sister Dolores, who was just hysterical 24/7.
Yes.
Just crazy funny.
Yes, crazy funny.
Now, how was she growing up with? Was she that funny all
She was
all
always
along?
the same. She was always unusual.
Did everyone learn that from your father then? The humor?
I'm
Or
sure
was your mother
I think
too?
some of it's genetic too. I honestly believe that. Because I tried to be hilariously funny, and it's not
So does
easy.
Angie. She's still working on her comedy
She
routine.
is funny. But I was more the laugher in the family. Everybody wanted me around because I would just laugh and laugh.
Well, that's a good attribute.
That is.
Yeah, but they were quick-witted, like you are. I mean, it wasn't a joke so much as anything happening, they'd have a joke about it. Even when my mother passed away, and my brother John, in the car, he said, "Wow, Aunt Peggy, I don't think she's ever going to die. It seems like she's just melting away," because she kept shrinking and shrinking. She used to be a very big woman, and when we were at my mother's wake, that's my father's sister, by the way, Aunt Peggy.
Yes.
She had gotten much smaller, and so he decided she was just going to shrink. We wouldn't see her anymore.
So he has a great sense of humor, even in the face of something very serious.
Yeah.
That he's always been that way. Your brother John,
Right.
outgoing and sort of the leader in the group.
Yeah.
Lifting people's spirits, having something kind to say, something funny to say. Very quick-witted.
Play the guitar like you.
Play the guitar. He was my childhood idol, unbeknownst to him.
That was a big thing in our house because when all the relatives came over, it was always, "Oh, John, get your guitar." And so he would be the star of the family, playing, and everybody singing along with him. So that was a big thing.
Yeah, so you've always been a big music lover. Who did you listen to? You and your sister Dolores, excuse me. Did you guys hang out quite a bit?
Not until our 20s, because she was 5 years younger than me.
Oh, another big gap.
Yeah, she was really a pest. And even when my dates would come, they'd give her money to leave, to get out of the way, because she would just bug them forever and do anything she could to annoy everyone she could. That was Dolores. Till the end, actually.
Yeah, she did. Right down to the end.
Yeah, she was very different. Very outgoing, very brazen. And when I used to have to go to the store, And we had like a butcher and a baker and that kind of stuff down along Castor Avenue. And my mother would tell me to make sure the meat was lean. Well, I was very quiet and demure. So I would bring Dolores along and I'd say, could I have 1.5 pounds of the beef, please? And Dolores would go, and make it lean, okay? My mother wants it lean. So she was very important in my life, getting things done.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say.
I wanted to ask about, because you were talking about your father working, pretty much in politics, you'd say. So did your mother play a role in that as well, or what did she do?
My mother was a nurse, and she really didn't like politics, so which gave me a great opportunity, because once I got to be about 17, I started going to all the dinners and everywhere with my father. So I played her role with my father.
Oh, nice.
And I loved it. So I got to meet John Kennedy and Bob Kennedy and Ted Kennedy at all these different dinners because I was his escort. Nice. So I loved it. But no, she didn't care for it at all. Wasn't her cup of tea.
Well, politics isn't everybody's cup of tea. In fact, we don't normally address politics here at Swansonville.
I was going to say, so then after 17, obviously, you didn't lead towards politics. You went to college and decided to pick a different career. What was that?
A teacher.
Teacher, yeah.
Yeah, but I also did run for politics. I was a committee woman, and I won in a Republican district.
There you go. Congratulations.
But
here in California?
No, in Philadelphia.
Really?
But I actually honestly did it for my father, although I never said that. I knew it would make him very happy. But I did run in California and lost.
This was. But when you won in Philadelphia, then I'm sure you made him very proud. That's amazing.
I saw your signs all over the street corners, Mom. I was proud of you here in California, running for the.
Well, I did pretty darn good. I got like 18,000 votes. I wasn't. I think the other two got 20 something, and they had all the money from real estate donations and whatnot, and we had 15 cents or something.
That's awesome.
You still have the itch, the political itch. You still.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you want to run again?
Sometimes I honestly do, only because I think it's the only way to get something done.
That's right. Yeah. Good for you, man. That's very courageous to want to. It's one thing to say you want to make a change, but obviously there's been proof that you've taken that extra step where most people don't take that extra step and actually go.
My mom's very infamous for saying I'm going to write a letter. That's where I get that from.
Oh, okay.
That's where it comes from. Yeah, if there's a problem, look, if we have a problem, we're going to
write
get
a letter.
We're going to put together a letter.
I love that.
We're going to figure this thing out. So your political aspirations. Even though you're 50-50, I mean, you're still doing pretty well out there with that. But the teaching is really where all that comes from. That's sort of in your nature. That's what you that's what you did right out of the gate after you got married, or were you teaching prior to marriage?
I was teaching before marriage, and they had a program. I was really fortunate to get into this program where you had to have 18 units, and then as long as you maintained 12 new units every year, you could teach in the schools. So you were very young when you started out teaching, as you can well imagine. And so you had your degree in no time, so I started out in parochial Catholic schools, in the grammar schools, and mostly 2nd and 4th grade I probably taught the most. And I loved it. It was probably, when I was in Philadelphia and I taught at St. Matthew's and you were at St. Martin's, they were probably personally, not involving my marriage or anything, but personally the happiest days ever.
For as far as your career?
My career, and also all the teachers were became very close friends.
Do you keep in any touch with any of them?
No, they all kind of went their way and I went my way.
Not that close then. Not as close as you perceived at the time, apparently.
But we would have probably if I hadn't suddenly left Philadelphia and disappeared to the Adirondacks Mountains.
Right. So before you disappeared from Philadelphia and all your friends, you had 3 children. You got married, had 3 children. I'm one of those, obviously. My older brother John, my younger brother Tim. So you had 3 kids teaching Catholic school. We were going to Catholic school, and and those were the best times of your life in your career, and then that took a turn, and you were faced with
A difficult
a
decision.
difficult decision in your life, especially for a woman in that time, in that era.
I know, huh?
And with the religion,
and
too.
being a Catholic woman and belonging to the Catholic Daughters, participating in the Catholic Church beyond just going to church on Sundays. So here you are, a young woman with 3 boys, faced with this divorce, and you're taking your children away from Philadelphia because of the circumstance to upstate New York.
I know.
And so, what was that like? That whole process of deciding to do that.
It
And
was
going through that?
difficult to have to leave everything. So that was very, very hard. But I did have one friend there, one family, the Carachulas,
In upstate New York?
in upstate
Oh,
New
okay.
York. And they were a fun bunch. And this town, again, was like when I was a little kid, it's a very little town and a very safe town. And
Lake Pleasant.
Lake Pleasant, New York.
And did you know the Caracciolo family from Philadelphia?
Yes,
used
they
to-
lived on my street.
Okay. When you were younger and growing
In
up.
Our No, when I had
They
my
were our
children.
neighbors.
Oh,
The
okay.
They were our
kids played with
neighbors.
us. Their kids played with us.
And then they
on the same
moved up
block.
north.
Augusta Street.
Right. And I think the first thing we did is we went camping up there to see what we thought of it, if we liked it. And Paul Caraccio was very gregarious, so of course he's like, oh, you have to stay here, you have to come here. And I asked the children, well, do you want to live here? And she always goes, and we said yes, and boom,
was it.
there we were.
That's what happened. And Paul Caracciolo, by the way, just so you can get an image of this man, he's a big, hairy man. He was a big, hairy man, and he was a hippie man. He was a hippie man with long hair. And another guy that I kind of like, I like this guy. He's really cool, you know what I mean? He dressed the way he wanted to dress. He drove a VW bus, which was the coolest thing in the world, right? And he was just different than every other neighbor. So, like when they moved to upstate New York, the Caracciolo family, and then we found out that you were friends with them, and we went to visit them, it was just
No brainer. Like, let's stay
yeah,
here.
like let's like live here in 5963 Augusta Street, right? Or go to this beautiful land, right, where they'd ski and do all these wonderful things, and there's just nature everywhere. There's just beauty. And yes, it was a no-brainer, and we were there quite quickly. I remember it was the middle of my 5th grade year. I had to finish school in Speculator.
Right.
So we moved from there to upstate New York, and you're having to take all this on your shoulders with 3 boys to raise. That must have been a little bit
It was.
caused a little bit of anxiety.
I was telling someone today that I had the 3 best children you could ever want. I was trying to analyze it. I think the times were part of it. It wasn't a time where there were tremendous drug problems and gang problems and anything like that. And so we didn't drink, so we didn't have alcohol. And my boys, honestly and truly, I just thought of this today, had neighbors come to me constantly saying, how do you do it? How do you have such wonderful children that never get in trouble? And they really, they aren't perfect, and I'm not saying they are, but raising them was such a blessing. such
Easy
a
when they were
joy.
younger, yeah.
Easy as could be. And in Lake Pleasant, they had so much opportunity they would have never had in their life. By coincidence, they're skiing, there's snowmobiles, they had their own boat that they could take to school, their own dock. I mean, it was a fairy tale.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible.
Now, how long did you live there?
Oh, not long enough, but I think
Not
it was
long
about
enough.
2.5 years.
I can't wait to go back and visit there.
Oh, and
Seemed like a lot longer than that, even
Oh,
though it was
maybe
a short.
it was 2
Well,
years?
it's still whatever period of time it
2
was.
years?
It seemed like a big chunk of my lifetime. You know what I mean?
yeah, because it was
It was
so
very impressionable years for me.
right. And then I
And then
became
did you-
friends with the priest, Father Jude, and Father Jude got us a literal mansion. It was the governor's mansion to live in for like next to nothing. I mean, I don't even remember, but to make it kind of how you'll understand. It would be like saying $200. I mean, the woman was deceased and the man was in an aging home. His only child lived in Sweden, and Father Jude looked after the property. So he was delighted to have us move in.
And we were delighted to move in.
And we were delighted. And I mean,
we were living in a hotel room, a motel.
A motel.
A motel we were living in.
And Father Jude.
So do you remember this house?
Yo, the house is magnificent.
Oh, yeah. And Father Jude came and he said, you know, I have a wonderful place. You can furnished, pots and pans,
Just walk in.
Wow.
everything.
That's a dream come true.
It was a dream. It was magnificent place.
So why would you ever leave?
Well, let me just tell you this, that it was not the land of opportunity. We're talking about a very, very small town with very limited opportunities. It was a great thing that you did get us out of there, or else, who knows what. But, as beautiful as it is, it's a great place to maybe spend a few years.
Right.
Or absolutely to vacation.
Oh,
Just
terrific.
absolutely gorgeous. But I'm glad that you moved us out here to Southern California.
But mostly all the families, when their children graduate from high school, they leave and go to college somewhere in another state and live there. Yeah. Because there is, like Joe said, no opportunity. What are you going to be, a trash man? I mean, there's just not a
Her
lot.
Father was a trash man. That
Well,
was
there
his
you
first
go.
job.
But I mean, it's not a career.
Right.
And your father didn't do it forever.
Right.
So,
Oh, that's all they had is jobs. You could work at the ski lodge. You worked at the pizza place.
right, I loved
know?
it that summer.
Yeah.
And I worked for the doctor, Dr. Cooley.
Right.
And he actually called me up and asked me to come work for him. I didn't even know who he was. And I'm like, I'm not a medical
What is
person.
this magic land I
I
moved to?
know, this is incredible. But I took the job and it was hilarious. I think maybe the funniest person I ever worked with was Dan Cooley.
Yeah.
Completely insane. I would go on house calls with him. I mean, he'd be the veterinarian and the doctor and the surgeon and the county coroner. So he was everything and then some. Very funny man. All he wanted to do was laugh and play. He really didn't want to be a doctor.
Yeah, they were a great family. My best friend, Bradley, was Dan Cooley's son.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time with them. And the next town over, you were working in Pasico.
Right?
You were traveling down Route 8 from Lake Pleasant to Pasico, New York, for your job at the doctor's office. Dan was also a hunter and would have, a deer hanging in his backyard in a shed.
It was
at any
crazy.
given time. Yeah.
And he'd do his gardening, and I'd help see the patients while he went out and gardened. That's how crazy it was.
So you leave New York. Your husband at the time, my stepfather Tom, got a transfer.
Right.
His job.
Was it something he requested, or was it just something they offered him? Like,
It
hey,
was
we
an
have a position
opportunity.
in Southern
Yeah.
California. Do you want to take it? And what did you feel when you found out that
Well,
news?
actually, it was two places, and I don't remember the second. And he had his choice between the two. And so I probably said California because my brother lived out here.
Oh, John.
Even though, we didn't have a big, close relationship and we weren't close in proximity, I think that's probably why. But plus, when you're on the East Coast, everybody thinks, oh, California, everything's so glamorous. So that's in your head. And
Yeah,
so
always.
you think that's going
They
to be
paint
the
that
deal.
great picture, don't they?
Yes, they do. And I had no problems with my career out here. I just went from one wonderful job to the other, so.
Did you, you didn't continue to teach?
No, I didn't. When I came out here, I wound up being a manager of the pathological lab because I had that experience with Dan Cooley, so now I had a medical background. So following that, I became a manager for a dental facility, which I wound up being the director of, and I made so much money. I stayed there for 18 years. And then I went back to teaching, and I was teaching at a junior college was the last thing I was doing. So I had a lot of opportunity. And growth.
So what has been your favorite opportunity here in Southern California, working?
Well, probably Junior college. I mean, I really did love it. I love the responsibility with the dental group because I got to do crazy things. I got to represent, I was the lawyer pro temp for a case that we had against the Teamsters. So I represented the dental group in court. My name is actually in a law book. And the Teamsters had their lawyer, and then the AFD had their lawyer. And it was a bench, the judge actually made a bench decision. And he came down to the bench, that's what that means, standing there, and he said, I don't have to take it under consideration. I've already made up my mind. I'm in favor of Maryann Cibalista and the San Bernardino Dental Group.
Wow, so you got some little lawyering experience.
Yes, and
Wow.
honestly.
So you're a lawyer, you're a teacher, you're a doctor. This is amazing. This is actually incredible.
And,
and the proof
honestly,
is in the pudding.
And one of the things that I remember most is that day, because it was a rocky moment. And I remember thinking, oh my God, what if he, just how naive I was, what if he changes his mind? I'm getting my briefcase and getting out of here. And I just took off out of the courtroom. And I wanted to find someone somewhere that I could scream, oh my God, I won. But there was like no one to yell to. But it was probably one of the most exciting moments in my business career.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was, because it was a scary thing to do.
Right. And so after the dental thing then, and you decided, hey, you know what, I want to do junior college. Why not Catholic children? Why not back to the children where you started? You want to try something new? Or?
Again, it was an accident. I was going to open my own consulting business. That was my goal. And I was going on vacation. There was an ad in the paper about this medical woman who was looking for someone. And I thought, well, maybe she knows a lot of doctors. So I sent her my resume, not even thinking about a school. And I went on vacation. And then when I came back, Timmy said to me, this lady has been calling you 50 times a day. She left her. I go, what does she want? He goes, I don't know, something about teaching. And so she asked me to come in. I went in and she said, she interviewed me and she said, I want to hire you. I'm like, for what? And she said
Did you not apply for this job?
No.
People just calling you randomly and offering you
Honestly,
positions?
I did not apply. And
That's
she goes,
amazing.
to teach business in our junior college. And I'm like, really? And she goes, yeah, it'll be a substitute job. Substitute. The whole morning I was teaching accounting, and the whole night I was teaching medical terminology. I finally went full-time because I decided it would be easier.
So you had the afternoons to yourself then?
Yeah,
so.
the afternoons to myself. But I did not apply. I did not even know this was for a college.
Wow.
So, complete accident. Somebody asked me, how did you get all these great jobs? Most of them, complete accidents.
Music, your favorite music comes from what era?
From the 60s and the 70s.
Okay.
And Motown in
Motown.
the 50s, yeah.
Motown.
All Motown. I love Motown.
Motown was big for me growing up, hearing that music, you playing it at a very loud volume all the time. You still do.
I still do.
Yeah, you do.
And I loved Ricky Nelson. He is the only star that I as an adult, I was a member of his fan club.
Oh, boy.
That's awesome.
That's how much I liked Ricky Nelson. I just was crazy about him.
A lot of people were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always looked like his sons.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the Nelson twins.
You know, I got started in music at a very early age. Let's not say get started in music. I was 7 years old. I wasn't really out there hustling the music, but I was beginning to take guitar lessons.
Yes.
At age 7, you got me a guitar. That's where I started. And so I started wondering, why was it that you got me the guitar? Because you would often bring me out to sing in front of your friends, but you would be singing with me, you know what I mean? I kind of got the feeling that you wanted me to learn the guitar to accompany you, you know?
Exactly.
You thought it was a good, when he asked for it, you go, ding, idea popped up.
As long as you learn how to play these songs, son.
And what was the song that...
Follow me. Follow me where I go, what I do and who I know. Make it part of you to be a part of me. follow me up and down, all the way and all around. Take my hand and say you'll follow to me.
Every event.
Every occasion we could find to
You
run
have
that tune
such
by
a
a
beautiful
friend.
voice. No wonder where you get your musical
Yes,
chops
my mom,
from. Your
she
beautiful
sang loud
mother.
too. My mom and my aunt
Well, she's got a
love
beautiful
to sing.
voice.
Yeah, they
Thank
love
you.
to sing and they love the Broadway.
Oh, that's what I was
Broadway.
gonna. Do you like to dance?
I love
Oh.
to dance.
Do you?
I love to dance.
Did you go
I-
dancing?
All the time. From the time I was 12 years old, every weekend I was at a dance. And I danced with my brother John. Actually, we were quite the jitterbuggers, and we practiced at home a lot. So we were so good when we went to dances. Everyone stood in a circle around us and clapped while we were dancing.
Because you were a
Dancing
big,
was very,
big.
very popular back then. A
Oh,
lot more
yeah.
popular than it is today.
Right.
Way. And it was a great opportunity because you got to meet tons and tons and tons of boys at the time, and then guys. And they would have like 12-year-old dancing, 12 and 13, and then they had dances where they were 14, 15, 16, then they had 17, 18, and then you went off to the clubs dancing. So dancing was a very big
It
thing.
was, what was the big show that they had?
Bandstand,
American Bandstand.
yeah. I went to American Bandstand.
You did?
Well, that's something right there.
Yeah,
A little piece of history. Dick
There you
Clark's
go.
American Bandstand.
I loved it.
I love that
Did you
show.
have to go to New York or?
No, it was in Philly.
Oh, it was?
West
Okay,
Philly.
nice.
We just took the train, and it took us to American Bandstand. Every time we had a chance, we were off early, we'd go down to American Bandstand. They only let certain people in. That hairspray thing is right.
Yeah?
So, I was like known enough that I could always get in whenever we went. Usually I went with a girlfriend.
Had the big hair.
Yeah, a lot of big hair. Yeah, hairspray.
So you've influenced me and inspired me in my life with your love and attention and intelligence and so many things. How's it been from your perspective? Well, watching Angie and I with the Swansons, but from the time I was the 7-year-old there and playing the guitar and sort of how
How
it
you
became,
evolved musically?
yeah.
Oh, amazing. But I would expect nothing less from you.
I feel weird even asking that question. Maybe Angie should ask you that question. Here, let's try it again. Go ahead and ask her. You can ask her that question.
I thought it was a great question.
Just go ahead and ask her so it's not about me, you know what I mean?
I would just say that
Well, it was a whole different scene with you and Angie. Then your other music was very good, very great, but it was more pop rock.
Mm-hmm.
And then with you and Angie, well, first of all, you have Angie, who is the show woman of the year. I mean, she is all the stage and then some as far as bringing glamour and fun and joy to the music, as well as she learned the harmonica. And it seems every time I turn around, she learns something else, and she dances on the stage. So, yeah, I think you're fabulous, and you write all the music, and it's amazing. I don't know how you churn out a song like every other day.
I don't know either. It's literally amazing to watch because
Thanks.
and also sometimes like when he's evolving a song, like sometimes you'll hear it at the very early stages, you know, and you know it's going to be a great song, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, and then when you get to hear it after, once it's been produced, you know, and then just the whole journey, and I just think that. What do you think about, though, Joe, back in the day, though? Let's talk about his early years on Sunset. Because you guys used to go out and see him in a big
In
old
Hollywood,
bus
yeah.
in Hollywood.
And he was very, very handsome, like he is now. He had a different, different
But it was just
look.
solo, right? Just
Yeah.
him and then...
I
And,
had a couple bands.
but he was great. I mean, he had a lot of fans. He won a battle of the bands, didn't you?
Yes, a couple of them.
Yeah. He had a big fan club because in high school, you have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
And they all adored him. So, like, girls and guys would come by the tons and buses. And, yeah, it was really a
lot
great
of fun.
adventure for him. We had a lot of fun.
Great
Yeah,
adventure
thanks.
for all of us.
We have a lot of that footage, thanks to
Yeah.
Tom at the time he used to bring the
Do you
video
remember
camera.
the first song that you ever wrote?
The first song that I ever wrote.
7.
Oh,
The Standard and Times
no,
song.
I don't.
And he was in 1st grade, or 2nd, maybe it was 2nd grade.
Sure.
And he wrote a song for the Standard and Times newspaper.
Okay.
And went around to the classes singing it. By the way, he could barely play the guitar, but that didn't stop him. And everybody loved him. They actually had him go to all the grades. They thought it was so cute.
Yeah.
That was his first adventure in writing a song.
Yeah.
And then I do have to ask though, when you first came to California, I've heard some stories, so let's hear the full story about you taking him to the Gong Show.
I did.
What
He had on
age?
his
What
little
age?
white or
13?
beige suit.
Yes, I had
Oh.
a white suit with stars on the pockets. I was walking down Hollywood Boulevard like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah,
getting
I'm
ready
feeling
for that
it.
big moment. Brought me in the studio with all these lights, you know. It was just an audition. It wasn't the actual show. It was an audition to get on the show.
Oh, okay.
And I had written a very serious song about my love for my mother. I knew that they were just gonna swallow up, hook, line, and sinker.
He had a lot of confidence.
Did they make you perform it?
I performed
As
it.
yeah.
I did, and yeah, I never heard back.
How
from
many
them.
people were there? How many other kids? Was it like
That
a
wasn't
lot?
like that. It was we had an appointment. And,
Oh, okay.
yeah, walked in pretty quickly, as I remember.
So that was fun though.
That was
how adventurous is that? And
Did
you
I
going
ask
to,
for that?
I was gonna.
I did. Wow.
Anything he asked for, usually I'd make it happen.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good mom.
Well, I still have a couple of requests left. You know you're my personal genie.
Well, it was easier then to make it happen.
Also,
Go ahead. Yeah.
no, I wouldn't. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that you have you've come to see me perform at so many different places throughout the years.
Lots.
You've always been a big supporter of my music, and I appreciate that, as well as
Huge
Angie's folks
support.
and with the Swansons. It's very hard to get an act off the ground, you know, and you do need a support group, and you've always been that person for me, you know, in my life, and I appreciate that. You have grandkids, along with your 3 children.
I do.
I have been a part of providing 4 of those for you.
Thank you. I love them. They're adorable.
So how is your grandmothering experience?
I love it. It is better than being a parent because you get to just watch them and enjoy every minute. You don't have to guide them. You're not their parent. You don't have to make sure they walk the line and learn their lessons. You just watch them and enjoy them, and everything's funny. Everything they do is hilariously funny. Their parents wouldn't think it was so funny, but I think it's funny.
Yeah.
So I've had the time of my life with them. Now it's mostly Sky, the little ones, Sky and Joey and Trissy.
And
Trissy
Bristol.
And Bristol. Bristol the cook. Bristol came over and made soup by
Wow, look at
herself.
that.
Cut the vegetables, brought her spices, and made a soup for us on Saturday night.
Well, that's
Wow, she's
great.
growing up.
9 years
For you
old.
and your husband,
so-
we forgot to mention your
Yes,
husband,
my
Mike.
husband Mike, who's a blessing that he even puts up with me. It's amazing.
Mike came into your life how long ago?
18 years ago.
It's been 18 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
long
Congratulations.
time. Thanks.
18 years of Maryann and Mike. I remember the day you were married at our home.
That was a beautiful wedding, yeah, at your house. And your house, your backyard, the priest that came said this place is made for weddings.
Yes, it
You
was.
should rent it
We should
out
have.
for weddings.
Yes. We no longer live at that house, just
No,
so our audience
but it was
knows.
just perfect for a wedding. It had this staircase that you went up and you stood up on a podium of sorts.
Yes.
And the party could line up on each side and they came out from the sides. It was beautiful. It was a breathtaking house. I was amazed when you moved. But this is even more breathtaking.
Now you've recently retired, or you're toying with the idea, anyways. You are currently retired, and then looking back again at teaching. What are your aspirations What are some things that you haven't done? Do you want to write a book? Have you ever thought of anything like that?
Or do you want to go back to teaching children at a Catholic school, or kind of where?
No, I thought of that, but honestly, for the money, not to sound pragmatic, but it's very lucrative to teach at a junior college. I don't know if anybody has any idea how much you make an hour, but compared to a grammar school, a Catholic school, I'm going to guess from what my friend said that she's making maybe like $15, $18 an hour, and I was making $65 an hour.
Wow.
That's a considerable difference.
Yeah, way different. And I enjoyed, I mean, so many of those students from the junior college, they're married now and they have children and they come see me and they all keep in touch with me. They invite me to their weddings. So I made
Well, you had a positive impact on all their lives. Yeah, like you always do.
I have one who's studying to be a doctor now. He got accepted. And he's in doctorate school. A lot of them went on to get their masters, and very
awesome.
successful group.
That must be very rewarding to see that happen. And you also see it in your family with all the lives that you continue to touch and influence. In fact, you are on your way to Texas at 3 o'clock in the morning. And if you haven't noticed, Maryann, my mother, her voice is a little bit altered due to the fact that she's sick. So she's a champ being here in Swansonville today, being a little under the weather, and leaving to see my son's children, Joseph and Tristan, in Texas tomorrow.
Yeah, the great grandkids.
It's exciting.
Joey was 3 years old and 1 year old, about to be 2. And they're getting so big so quick.
That's
And
so cute.
what were you going to say about Joey?
Joey, on my phone, FaceTimed me, and he's like giggling that Granny and Papa are coming tomorrow. And he kept giggling. He looks so cute. But yeah, Joey and I really got to bond because I did babysit for him.
Right.
So, that makes a difference when you spend that much time. Even with a baby, it just, till
You bond.
we
Yeah,
got very, very close.
Right.
It was very hard for, I'm sure, you guys and myself when they moved to Texas. I was like, oh my gosh. But I've been fortunate. Joe's son makes a good amount of money, and he flies me into Texas every 3 months. So Joey and I don't lose that bonding.
That's very nice. Very nice of you there, son. You're growing up good.
Cool. So, and then is there any other places that you're going to be traveling this year that you have in mind?
Now I'd like to go to Colorado and see the rest of my family.
Done. Let's do it. We're going to send my mom, and today we're sending you to Colorado. Straight from Swansonville. Yay. Just kidding. No. Actually, we're not actually.
Yeah, that's right.
not in our
your
budget yet.
brother's daughter, your niece Jennifer, and well, I only know her, so that's why I'm only bringing
Colleen
her up. Colleen lives in
Colleen's-
Colorado as well, and their mother.
Right. Sally. And Colleen's daughter plays the
Cello. Yes.
And they've been flying all over the country interviewing, because she's graduating from high school.
Okay.
Interviewing for these different colleges for scholarship.
Wow.
So she is very, very, very good. I'm sure she'll wind up in a Philharmonic orchestra somewhere.
Is that what she wants to do?
Yeah, she already is in one.
She's
but
already
I
done
mean,
that.
I'm sure
That's
that's what she'll go on and
fantastic.
do. She loves it.
I was just saying that we had the opportunity to meet Jennifer and her family when they came here to California on a trip and stayed here one night with us. And so everyone's kind of spread out in different states. And so it's nice to get to meet people sometimes that I'll hear about, but not necessarily get to meet on I did have the ability to go to Philadelphia and meet Uncle Wayne and Dolores.
That was really neat.
Yeah.
And
But I heard that there's some relatives in Florida and then Colorado
Mm-hmm.
and some other states, right? So that would be a fun trip. I hope you get to go.
What would you say, what bit of life advice would you give to our audience with your wealth of life experience in lawyering and teaching and singing and dancing?
Yeah.
I would just say do what you love. People would say, what were your goals? I mean, outside of teaching, I wanted to be a teacher since I was 7 years old. 2 things I wanted to be, a mother and a teacher. I got to be both of them. And outside of that, I just kind of floated. And I wandered into opportunities that were very challenging and difficult, that honestly, I would go home and cry at night for months thinking I can never accomplish this. But I would work so hard to make it happen. And I would say, just do that. Work as hard as you can, and you can do anything.
Well, you have been, lived by example and shown me what is possible when you put your foot forward and focus in on what you love, and that's what I've been so blessed to be able to do in my life, and following your footsteps and singing and dancing and doing a little lawyering here and there.
I know. I was gonna say, and making it look so easy, because as you know, we all face hardships, and life isn't just this easy, smooth, happy, plain thing. There's valleys and there's difficulties that happen, like when you said earlier about how when you were teaching and you loved that time back in the Catholic school, but yet there was this other important part of your life that wasn't good at that time, and you had to make the decision, you know, and that's just life. And that, so saying through it all, at the end of the day, just keep doing what you're happy. And if you're not doing something that doesn't make you happy, then stop doing it and start doing something.
So you've made a successful life thus far out of just following your passion, doing what you love to do, and engaging and giving of your time to the people that you love. What an awesome life you've had so far. Looking forward to the rest of it. So how do I wrap this up here? I just want to say I love you, and thank you for coming to Swansonville. It's been a distinct pleasure having somebody of your caliber on our show.
I know. Not too much of a caliber, but I just, when I have to do something, I put my whole heart and soul into it, like you do, and I do it. I worked very hard for that case, by the way. It wasn't like I woke up in the morning and walked into court. So I worked very, very hard. I didn't really expect to win. Oh, by the way, the reason I did that, I went to 3 attorneys, and they all said they would take the case, but that we would lose, all 3 of them. So I thought, well, I don't want to pay you to lose.
No.
You know, then I'll just go lose myself. That's what I really thought. I'll go lose myself. So I went in to lose and won.
Oh my goodness gracious. Becomes the highlight of your life.
Nothing to lose.
I'm going in to lose. Little did I know this is going to be the highlight of my life. Isn't that life? It never goes as planned.
I do have to say thank you for bringing joy to all the people in your life that you cross, like not just your family, you know, and friends and me and Joe and the grandkids and everyone you're so important to every one of us in such a big way, and not just the family, your students and your distant family and everyone. I don't think you have any idea how huge you are and how greatly important you are.
Thank you.
To so many lives. You really are. And we just love you so much.
I love you too. Thank you.
We love you, Maryann. Thank you for stopping by in Swansonville today. We were very happy to have you. She
Happy
is
to be here.
Maryann,
a wonderfully amazing
mother, teacher,
person. She is
an angel.
my mommy.
That's right. Maryann.
Maryann Seedless. Welcome to Swansonville. Thank you, Maryann.
Thank
God bless
you.
Thank you.
Wonderful having you. First kiss on the hand.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Swansonville, everybody. That was awesome. That was just great. We had to just so you guys know, we just came back, and then we had to come back again because our Swansonville sign wasn't working. So, due to technical difficulties, we're back again.
That's right.
Saying the same thing. Thank you once again, Maryann Seedless, for showing up on our podcast. That was really cool. Thanks to my mom for being on the podcast. Thank you, Maryann, and thank you to your dad for being on the prior show, episode 10 and 11. And I was saying how fortunate we are to have our parents involved in our careers and being so supportive, coming out to all of our shows, sometimes traveling great distances to do so. So thank you to our families for all of the support. And I wanted to say, it is our Grammy special. Yay! 61st annual Grammy Awards were this past week, and Angie and I attended, as you all know now. But there was one thing that I had left out that I wanted to mention, was that you went to the Grammys with something that was very important to you, left the Grammys without that very important thing, which was the diamond in your wedding ring.
That's right. And when we got home, I noticed when I looked down that it was completely gone. More than just the diamond. The whole casing of the center stone was gone. Like,
You had
it
a
looked
band
like-
left. You had
yeah,
the band.
and just whatever, it was gone, and it was sunk my heart when I saw it. Luckily, we have insurance on it, right?
Yes. But it sunk your heart, but it's
I
crazy
did,
how
because,
you responded
I know,
to
because I was going to say, you know what I said?
What?
Well, just because I was, I thought for a second, did it really fall out?
Well, wait. Hold on a second. We're talking about. I was going to get to that. That's just something about you that our audience does not know. But Angie's very sketchy about things. She gets very sketchy about things, about a lot of different things. This being one of them. So when she took notice, we were talking about. But you were saying that your heart, the bottom of your heart dropped out. But you didn't really respond that way. You take things in life very well. I was very surprised.
Well,
and
only
impressed.
because I knew we had insurance. If we didn't, then we would be donezo.
Yeah.
When you lose something like that, as people know, like a wedding ring, you just can't get that back. Like, obviously, we were fortunate enough to have it protected or registered, whatever you want to call it. Best decision we've ever made with buying a piece of jewelry that expensive is to get the insurance on it. Because
Absolutely,
this is not
yeah.
the first time that it fell out.
It's the second
This
time
is the
it got
second
loose
time
before.
that the ring has lost a stone.
So we got a new ring. So we got a new ring, and it's beautiful, just like you.
Thank you.
Let me give you a kiss. So you lost the stone, and then the first thought that Angie has in losing the stone was, did I actually lose the stone? Or, here comes sketchy Angie, right? Did somebody steal it
At the Grammys.
at the Grammys, right?
Thought that maybe there was a diamond heister amongst the crowd
A diamond heist.
with a clip or something, and that maybe when I wasn't looking, or maybe when I was waiting in line, or maybe it was the person.
Did you think
next
that
to me.
process through when you thought about maybe somebody took it? So you
Because
thought
this
about
is
the
why.
device they might need to have in order to do.
To get it off, because
That.
you'd have to cut it off somehow. Here's the thing, it wasn't just the diamond that fell out. The entire metal, the whole thing was gone.
So there could have
I
been.
didn't hit my hand on anything because I think I would know that
There could potentially have been a professional diamond heister
at the Grammys.
at the Grammys, right? Who has a special device, right, that he or she uses for these diamond heists, right? So, and they're specifically designed for rings such as yours, right? So they can reach out with their little zzz, right, and then pluck the diamond, right? Did you?
Or it could be something quicker than that.
What was it?
Yeah,
What would you think it
No,
would
I
be?
was just saying that's exactly what I was thinking.
You think it would be a bump and a pull?
Just something bumping into you and then boop, done.
So they
That's
would
how
need a tool
easy-
though, right? Or
that's
just
how
the fingers?
simple.
They're that good.
No, there would be some type of thing that would like latch
A
on.
little
It probably just they hope to grab something. It doesn't always grab, but sometimes they get lucky.
Yeah,
Like that kind
they
of
got
thing.
lucky. They got
Yeah.
lucky that night.
Yeah.
So whether it was stolen, heisted by the diamond heisters at the Grammys, or just simply lost, it was just a stone, and it was insured, nevertheless.
Yeah.
And you got a new wing. You got a new wing.
A new wing.
You got a new wing. Wing, wing. Now you got a new wing. Oh, back to the. Anyways, I'm sorry.
No, you weren't in with
I was
it?
in the wrong key and everything.
You were? Oh, my lips is gonna get all messed up. now we have to end it because my lipstick's
Okay,
so
so we will end it, and we just want to thank you all for joining us again here
thanks
in
for
Swansonville,
joining.
man.
Thank you, Maryann,
Thank you, Maryann, and
for joining us. Thanks for tuning in.
thank you, Vic. And
Oh wait, we still have to sing a little song.
what we're gonna sing?
How's my lipstick?
It's pretty good. We're good.
You sure? You gotta tell me if it's messed up.
That's good. It's okay. That's fine. What do you want to sing? Something from the Swansons. Have we given any little trivia, Swansons trivia today? Little fun fact.
Let's give a fun fact about the Grammys. I have
What is it?
one. Okay, so I have a fun fact. I will ask you a question.
Okay.
Who is the youngest person ever to win an individual Grammy?
Leanne Rhymes.
You copy off my cheat sheet.
No.
Leanne
happen
Rhymes
to
is
know
correct. That was in 1997.
Found that out earlier
And then
today.
also the great thing that's great about that fact is not only was she the youngest, but she was the first country artist to win New Artist. Or the first country person ever to win a Grammy.
Is that a fact?
Leanne Rhymes in
Wow.
1997 the Grammy was New Artist.
Pretty cool.
So
Pretty cool.
that's came. Country music is moving in on the Grammys. You know, that Grammys like to keep country music in their own lane, right? But country music moving in. And congratulations to Casey Musgraves.
Woo! That was a mouthful right there. Congratulations, Casey
Yeah,
Musgraves.
because she's country and she won.
Is that it? You
Yeah.
didn't have a fun fact from there? We're done. That was a Grammy fun fact.
Yeah, I have a fun fact from here.
What is it?
Andy and Joe, the Swansons, share multiple tattoos together.
Is
Let's
it?
share them. Let's tell them.
We have this one here on my wrist.
That was the
is a
second
key,
one, and I have the heart.
a locket.
And also,
I have the key
we
to
both
unlock your
have the
heart.
same.
Infinity. It's over here, underneath all this stuff. Cool.
Double infinity,
Yeah.
and then the key and the lock. And it says one love, and his says one heart.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Let's
Thank
sing
you all for joining. Oh, we're
Let's
sing.
sing Take Me.
Take me. She won't city. Let's see. Give me a sec here. Just a verse.
Yeah.
She wrote me a letter and it blew my mind. About her halfway through, I couldn't help but cry. I said, oh, baby, wait a minute, set my pants on fire. There will never be another. You're my one desire.
You know, I thought that too, as started thinking how much I love you and everything that we've been through. We're still together 'cause we're better than the weather, and you know you're gonna get her.
Take me where I want to go, baby. Make me feel I'm in control, baby. Lately it's been getting kinda slow. I'm really in a hurry for another memory. Yeah, a little Take Me. Off of Country This.
That's right.
Check that out at theswansonsmusic.com. And thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to being back in Swansonville next week.
For episode 12, tune in
Episode
for a
12.
special guest.
Special mystery guest next
And
week.
this was episode 11, and thank you so much for tuning in.
Grammy 21 or 61? I'm sorry, 21. My head's all messed up. Grammy 61. Swansons episode 11.
That's right.
Thank you all for joining. I love you, Ange.
Peace. Love you too.
We love you guys. See you in Swansonville next week. Peace out. God bless.